Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today, check this out. I'm doing the third of a series of 3 reviews for the Propel series Star Wars drones. Now these guys are collector's items. These are not cheap drones, but they're very awesome. What we're going to be doing in this one is unboxing, inspecting, setting up, and doing the flight test and a pros and cons on the TIE Advanced, a TIE Fighter Propel drone. I've already done the X-Wing and the Forest Speeder. If you wanted to check out those reviews as well, I'll go ahead and have those linked in the description of this video down there. And also for this one, go ahead and check out the link down there in the description of the video. Click on it, see what the current pricing is on these drones, and also further specs. Anyway, so this is going to be a full review on this. Let's go ahead and get started. I have not taken this thing out of the cardboard box, so we'll go ahead and just do it from my first experience with you. I'm going to go ahead and share it with you here. Now, I have done the other 2, and I'll have to tell you, the first one I did, opening that thing up, it's a pretty amazing experience if you're a Star Wars fan. So be prepared, because these things are awesome. Not only is the drone pretty awesome, but the whole experience you get unboxing them and checking them out is a pretty darn awesome experience. And I'm going to share that with you right here, right now. Make sure you go ahead and check out that one with the bike, the Forest Speeder bike, because that was my first one I did, and you'll probably get the best reaction from me out of that one. But this is the third one I'm doing here, and here we go. So this is the TIE Fighter. This would be like Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. You can see how it's a more longer one. And here's the Imperial controller. You can see that the Imperial controllers are black and the Rebel ones are white. And this is what the box looks like. Open this thing up and get started. So pulling this out, let's open the top of the box. So I'm going to try to be kind of careful because this is a collector's item and I don't want to mess it up too much. So we're pulling out another box, which is inside the main box here. So another plastic bag we got to take off. You know, this is just extra protection for the main box. The TIE Advanced X1 TIE Fighter. Look at that thing. Okay, so just rotating around the box, and this is why they do such good packaging, is because it's got like this 3D plastic TIE Fighter here on the outside. It's also got these little wax seals, because this is a collector's edition. You're supposed to be able to tell when you cut the wax seal. It's pretty easy just to kind of pry it up because it's just kind of stuck on with sticky tape glue, so you can actually just pry it and pop it open if you wanted to. You don't have to actually break that seal. But anyway, that's what the box looks like. Pretty neat looking box. Let's go ahead and open it up, and this will be my first experience with this one. And like I said before, the experience of opening these is such jaw-dropping experience. You're gonna trip out on this one. Okay. Are you ready? Here we go. You ready for the experience? Look at that. Playing music, the Imperial March. Wow. Speakers and LED. Watch when we take off the cover. How much louder it gets. This is awesome. How's that for an unboxing experience? So what's cool about these is you've got like multiple sound excerpts from the movie. So what I'm going to do is put the top back on one more time and take it off a few times, and let's see how many there are. I think there was only 2 for the speeder bike over here, but in my unboxing of the X-Wing, there was actually 3 or 4, and I only showed 2, but there's actually 3 or 4 sound files on that one. So if you guys don't already know and you think you listened to them all, there's a few more, so check it out. There's the whole sequence of them destroying the Death Star and everything on a sound bite. So anyway, putting the top back on the TIE Fighter, it's like a magnetic switch or something like that. So check this out. Okay, so that was the first song, the Imperial March. Here's, I'm not sure what it's going to be, but here is the second one. Darth Vader. Okay, so there was Obi-Wan and Darth Vader about to battle. Let's see if there's any more. So we heard the Imperial March, the Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, beginning of their battle, and let's try one more time. Yep. Even more.
This is a rebel that surrendered to us. Although he denies it, I believe there may be more of them, and I request permission to conduct a further search of the area. He was armed only with this.
Good work, Commander. Leave us. Conduct your search and bring his companions to me.
Yes, my lord.
Wow. Cool. So they're talking about Luke there, and they have his lightsaber. Not sure how many there's going to be. Let's try again. Ah.
It is your destiny. Join me. Together we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Cool. So that was when they were finished with their battle and Luke was on the bridge in the Death Star. Cool. I'm just going to try one more. Let's see if there's, it seems like there's quite a few for this one. So let's see if there's another. Put the top back on real briefly and take it off.
Stabilize your rear deflectors.
Yep.
Watch for enemy fighters. 3 marks at 210.
I'll take them myself. Come on.
Yep, sir.
Okay, so there was another sound excerpt. So that, I think that was 4 of them, and that's as many as you get also from the X-Wing. Let me just try one more time, and if it goes back to the Imperial March, then we'll know that we've done all of them. Wow. This one's got 5. The X-Wing also has this sound excerpt. Okay, so they just blew up the Death Star. Awesome. So I know that was kind of long, but I just wanted to go through all the sounds because I missed them in the X-Wing. Let me just try it one more time, just to make sure. Yep, okay, so the Imperial March is going again, so that's it. That's all you get. And there it is. So this is the TIE Fighter. And here's the display box. Just basically a speaker with a bunch of lights in it. And I don't know how to stop it besides covering it. Oh, there we go. So apparently it has some kind of detection on sensor to detect when it's opened up. All right, so here we go. Sorry about that lengthy delay, but I just wanted to show it all. Here it is. Here is the TIE Fighter. And we can see that we've got the motors upside down, just like all of this series of Propel here. This is the battery compartment, it looks like. So a little different than the other ones. This looks like more of a flat battery than the other ones here. And we can see where it's plugging in right there on the front. We can see it's a proprietary battery. So this is just kind of a blank, but there are also going to be 2 batteries in the box. Further checking out the front, it looks like we're going to have lights in there, and then these are the lasers that are going to be shooting out. This is the laser pickup. So when you are doing your battle, this is where people are going to be shooting at you, and that's where it's going to pick up the hit. Anyway, so a box within a box. You can see that this box is now empty. And here we go. So taking up the flaps here, and we're going to be getting like 4 boxes in this box here. We've got the propeller guards. So say you're like a new flyer or something and you want to put on propeller guards. This box just has the guard here. So you just will slide that on underneath and put it over the motors. And you can actually like launch from like carpet and stuff. If you didn't want to put on this propeller guard cage, then I'd advise just launching from like a table or a box or something. Anyway, here's the controller, and then here are the other 2 boxes, and here's the manual. So the manual is going to go over, of course, how to fly it and how to set everything up. In this box here, we have the wall charger, 2 batteries. They're giving us these 2 little batteries here, and these ones are actually 850 milliamp hour batteries. The other 2 were the speeder bike and the X-Wing were actually 800 milliamp batteries. So this one's actually got 50 more milliamp hours. And as far as the charger goes, it's just this other box here. Let's go ahead and pull this one out. And what they're giving us is we've got a plug-in for the wall. And then we've also got just a USB charger here. And the cool thing about this thing is we can actually charge this. We plug it into the wall charger and we can actually charge. Remember that light box, that display box? It has a charge port on the back and you can charge it from this plug as well. And the way we charge the batteries is we have this little charger here. This plugs right in like this. And there we go. And the battery can only plug in one way. So you're gonna have to have the charger designed for the craft because it's conforming to the shape of the craft here. So you can see how we plug that into our wall, and we're ready to charge this thing up and go fly. Just like that. Okay, so another box. This is gonna be the parts box. So you can see here it says extra accessories. We're gonna pull this open. Sorry about the lighting, guys. It's getting a little bit dark, and so the lighting has actually changed since I've been doing my other filming. But anyway, some spare parts. So we got some wings here. I'll give you a whole nother set of wings in case you crash and mess those up. We have B propellers and A propellers, and these are the super clear ones, so it's going to look like nothing's really there if you don't have the propeller guards on. Then we just have a little bag of screws to kind of help with the installation of accessories. And this little thing here, this is a prop nut wrench, which is actually going to help you push on the props with this part and then pry them off with this little tool here. Then the final box is going to be the controller. So we pop this guy open, and there we go. So it's an Imperial black controller. And let's go over the functions already. I've gone through them in the 2 other crafts, but just so you guys know, They've got 4 trigger buttons here on the top, and the top right is going to roll right, roll left. This is to fire your lasers, to play laser tag. This one here is to change the rates of flight. So you go ahead and push on this guy here, and your rates are going to change for faster flight. This little thing here is a cell phone holder. At this point, I'm not sure what you're going to be doing with the cell phone on here. I didn't see anything in the manual, but nevertheless, you can put like a 6-inch cell phone in there. It's probably an app you can download and possibly sync it up or something. This little guy here on the left of the left stick is an actual barometer sensor on and off, is what it's saying. This stick here is going to be, of course, your throttle and your yaw stick. And then this one here is going to be your pitch and roll. You can actually listen to different tracks while you're flying. On the controller, there's actually a speaker on the back. You see that little speaker there. And there also is actually a headphone jack here. So you can plug in your headphones and listen to Star Wars music while you're flying, or just blast it out of the controller. These 3 lights here are going to be for your life. So you've got 3 to start with. Once you get hit, each time you get hit, 1 goes out until all 3 are out, and then your actual drone will just fall to the ground, apparently. Pulling it over to the back here, we got 2 nice rubber grips, and on the bottom is where you're going to put in your AA batteries. Now what's cool with these controllers is it kind of has like almost like a stylus on a cell phone. It's got a little screwdriver that's linked into the back here. So we just kind of pull the screwdriver out, and the screwdriver, it's like just to undo the 4 AA batteries here. This was another Easter egg too. I was so surprised in the first unboxing at what happens when you do this. So say you're going to go ahead and change your batteries for the first time and you have no idea about this. This is going to trip you out. Watch this. So we take off the screws. I'm going to go ahead and put the screwdriver back in where it goes there, and check what happens when we open this up. If you've seen my other reviews of this, the other ones, you'll know what happens here. But for those of you who don't, take that off. Now watch this. Feeling some vibration.
The Force is strong with you, but you are not a Jedi yet. Now insert 4 AA batteries and achieve the full power of the dark side.
So how's that? And look at that. May the Force be with you, lights up. And you put your 4 AA batteries right in here. So that is pretty amazing. I've never seen anything like that before in a in RC. So cool little Easter egg. If nobody knows about that, I'm sure a lot of people do, but I didn't know about that when I unboxed my first one, and I was showing my video of the speeder bike, and I was just blown away at that. But apparently there's another battery in there to power that. And I'm not sure how that's being charged. Maybe when you put the batteries in, it automatically charges that, because I don't see any other ports for charging on this. Let's go ahead and charge this guy up and do our flight test. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and take this TIE Advanced in a little flight test in the house here. It would have been neat to have a switch so you didn't have to power it on right when you push the battery in. Anyway, let's go ahead and turn on the controller first, clicking and holding. Alright, so we get the TIE Fighter engine power up, and then we're hearing soundtrack. We want to go ahead and push the power in, the battery all the way in. You can see the lights start flashing. Go ahead and bind it.
TIE Fighter engaged.
Tells you, okay, so tells you TIE Fighter engaged, and it starts playing the Imperial March soundtrack. You can hear it's kind of loud. So say I want to turn that down, I click both of these here. Turns blue here, and I can turn that volume down. If you just go ahead and don't touch anything, it will turn back to regular flight mode. If we did want to go ahead and change the soundtrack and stuff, we go back into music mode, and we can turn off the sounds.
Music off. All sounds off.
All sound effects would be off on the second click.
Track 1.
There we go, and we can just switch tracks if we wanted to. Okay, cool. So that's how you do the music and stuff, and we're all booted up, ready to go. So let's go ahead and fly this thing. I want to go ahead and do a calibration level, and the way we do that is just make sure you're kind of on the floor that you know is super level, and go ahead and just press this top silver button. we hear a systems check complete, and then actually what it's doing is it's leveling the accelerometer. So it's taking that level floor and making that its level so we can fly nice and level, hopefully. So this button down here on the left is going to be our launch button, but we have to push and hold it. So I'm going to go ahead and press and hold. So we hear you are clear for launch, and the TIE Fighter goes ahead and launches to look like about 2-3 feet and ready to go. So these guys do have altitude hold. Right now it launches you in rate 1, and you can see how docile it is in rate 1. I'm stick all the way, and it's just pretty docile, easy to control in the house. When you do push the stick all the way, you're gonna hear comments once in a while. You're gonna hear like Darth Vader's comments, and did you hear that little comment? So that's random while you're pushing the sticks. So it will just hover in its altitude hold. You can see it's kind of drifting to the left. You can shim. What you do is you kind of shim up underneath some paper, underneath whatever way it's kind of going, if you didn't get a good calibration, and then retry your calibration like I did with that on the floor, and you can actually make these super level. It's actually flying not bad at all. That's pretty good for an altitude hold. You can see how it is drifting to the back right, but you can shim that out if you really wanted to. Anyway, yaw speed, this is rate 1, pressing the left bottom trigger, rate 2, and again rate 3. So all yaw, all modes of flight, rates of flight will get you a faster yaw and also a faster pitch and roll. So let's go back to 1. There's our pitch and roll. Going into 2, you hear 2 beeps, a little bit more of an angle there so we can fly faster. And check out rate 3. So let's go push full stick forward and then press it again, and we get a few more degrees of pitch and roll too. Cool. So it's a lot more of aggressive of a flight. We can see the lights here. If we wanted to, we could turn these off by just pressing this bottom right button. That turned off the front and the white lights, the blue light and the white light. If you wanted to, you can turn those off, save some power. Now the right bottom trigger is, you can hear the blasters, but it's not in battle mode yet. The laser tag mode, which you can battle these other guys, and when you get a hit, you lose one of these red lights and it rumbles and falls a little bit. When you get 3 hits on yourself or on the other craft, the craft will actually spin and kind of fall slowly to the ground. So cool little laser tag battle feature, but it's not enabled yet until you click and hold that light button. So did you hear that? Weapon systems activated. Now look at when we fire. You see the green lasers? So those are like the green TIE Fighter lasers. And it will flash like, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. So they all flash like 4 times on all these different models. So if I was facing somebody and I shot them right in the right spot on that little pickup on the bottom, the little black thing in the back, they would get a hit, or I would get a hit if they shot me. So it looks like this one, kind of like how the speeder bike did when I did a review on that. If you put weapon systems on and off, the back red light is on when the weapon systems are off, and then when you go ahead and turn the weapon systems on, that red back light turns off. So that's a good indication. But of course, when you just fire, you're going to see those green lights if it's on. Cool. So a little punch test. These aren't very fast with altitude and descending because they are altitude hold. Let's go ahead and do a punch test. Full up. You can see how gradual and slow. Full down. This one's actually kind of fast coming down, faster than some of the rest. If you want a better altitude hold, these guys have this little roller on the left, where if you push it up, it gives you like more of a dead spot in the center, and that'll be maybe for beginners that want a little bit of a better altitude hold. You can put it in there. I'm gonna go ahead and switch this down so I have a little bit better control, more precise control. But that's basically it except for the flip. So all these have a flip function, which are the top part of the bumpers. And if we go ahead and just hit it once, you do a roll, and then you can hear comments. That's a right roll. Left roll. So the right roll I heard the Emperor, and then the left roll I just heard a pilot. I think they're pretty random. Anyway, let's just kind of go ahead and fly around and see how good this thing kind of flies in the house. I am in rate 3, so I have a little bit more control and a little bit more pitch and roll if I need to get out of crazy situations. But check this out. So he's going to come by. I'm going to go ahead and fire. Come on by real close. They fly really nice and steady. Really easy to fly. Let's see if we can go over here and get around this light. Whoa, yeah. So these are so easy to fly. I honestly I've done like 3 or 4 flights each so far, and I haven't crashed one of them really yet. That could actually change right now, but they're so precise and easy to fly, it's really hard to crash unless you're a super beginner. So if you are a beginner, go ahead and put those, those prop guards on the bottom that are in the box to save the blades and they don't hurt anybody. There's a little funnel. So you can get going pretty quick. I am seeing some dropping when you go fast and turn. You can see how much it dropped. And if it hits the ground too hard, you see how it goes ahead and just cuts the motors just to save the motors. Let's go ahead and launch again. There we go. So don't be on, like, if you don't have those propeller guards, make sure you're on like a really short rug or flat, clean surface, because you wouldn't want to get like hair in your propellers or anything like that. Okay, so it looks like we went ahead and hit our low voltage and it landed. And the way we can see our low voltage is, you see these lights are flashing slow, and that means we're in low voltage. Oh, see, it looks like we got a little bit of hair in this motor, so be careful of that. If you don't have the prop guards on, you're gonna get stuff like this happening, or if your floor has a little bit of a hair on it. So definitely, I'll be getting that out right now, actually. Pretty easy to just take that out. So be careful of getting hair in these because the props are facing downwards. Anyway, I will have the flight time pop up on this one, so we can kind of see how long that lasted in that flight. Let's go put the other battery in, do an outside flight and a pros and cons. Anyway, let's get outside and fly this thing. Alright guys, so we're here at the park with Vader's TIE Fighter from Propel Drones. We did the house flight, and let's see how this thing does in the park. Got a little bit of wind coming from this direction, maybe about 5 mile per hour winds coming at me here. So we're going to fly around, maybe do some range testing, see how the flight characteristics are outside if you don't have room like inside, or you just want to fly it outside. This will give you a good idea of how it does. Now, let's not forget that up here is kind of manual mode. Whoa. Okay. So it'll launch just by pushing up the throttle stick if you're in manual mode. But if you're in altitude hold mode, which is this roller down, you have to kind of press and hold this button to launch. So I launched in manual mode there. Cool. So here it is. It's giving me some comments on the controller as I'm flying. As I'm pushing the stick around, it randomly comments. Kind of cool. And I'm in rate 1. These all launch in rate 1, and then you have to flip into rate 2 and 3 if you want to go faster. That's actually the left bottom trigger. So that's rate 2. Let's just get a quick little close-up shot of this thing outside. See how it's looking. A little bit closer up here. So it looks pretty dang cool, man. We'll see how a little bit of breeze influences it with these side wings on the TIE Fighter. Cool. So I think I'm in rate 2. Let's just fly around here, do a little range testing as well. I am in altitude hold mode, so maybe I'll just stay in that for now. There's the Emperor commenting. Use your aggressive feelings. Alright, so let's fly this thing. Whoa! Okay, so going into the wind, I was full throttle up at the end, but a little weak. Let's go ahead and relaunch while listening to the Imperial March here. And when we're in this altitude hold mode where the throttle has the spring on with this roller, you can see we can't launch until we press and hold this button. It just launches. Okay, so I'm going to go into manual mode, bring it up a bit, and then flip this roller up and click it. So this is manual, so the throttle doesn't have any spring anymore, and we should fly a little bit more aggressively here. Gonna go ahead and do rate 3. Let's go ahead and do maybe a couple flips, right trigger. Emperor's commenting again. All right, let's just fly around quick. You know, let's go do a range test.
Your aggressive feelings.
The Emperor again commenting. So I'm just kind of rolling left and right while I'm way out there. And I can barely see it. So these things are going to control until you can't see them anymore. So you don't have to worry about, you know, getting them out of range. Whoa. Okay, this one might be a little bit influenced by the wind a little. It's a little flutter from its wings somehow. See that? I'm full throttle up and it was kind of dropping. Whoa, when you turn a little bit there, that's kind of weird. Whoa, see that? So I think it's just the it's just the design of the craft with those wings on the sides. Isn't that great for flying like a quadcopter? So you will get that flutter when you turn if the wind's hitting it. Let's do some quick flybys here. You see that there? Let me turn here and get a quick flyby. Nice. So it goes pretty quick. Just gotta be careful of turning really hard. See that? Ugh, I was full throttle up, just saving it. Because when you turn fast, see how it just wants to like flutter down. It's just because it's a really short wheelbase here on the engines, the motors. So it doesn't have any really outward stability really much at all. Still cool though, blasters. Nice. So I'm hearing the Imperial March while I'm flying this X-Wing, I'm not X-Wing, but TIE Fighter around. Pretty awesome, nonetheless. So I am in manual mode, just cruising. Maybe for this thing, rate 1 or rate 2 is probably going to be the safest for you because of that turning flutter. I'm just going to do, yeah, if you turn like nice and sweeping turns like this, oh, there's another one. So it just has this thing where when you reach, you know, a certain speed and kind of turning, it does that little air stop flutter down. Just be careful of that. Just being honest on what to look for. Relaunching in manual mode. But look at the detail on this thing. Pretty awesome. Loving it. Just not the best flight characteristics. I did a review on the X-Wing as well, the Propel X-Wing, and that one flew a little better than this. See all of them and how they fly. So it did a little bit of a flutter again there. And these ones you can't really launch in the grass unless you have the, you know, those prop guards on the bottom. Here's an example of what happens when you try to launch in the grass. Just the propellers get buggered up and they can't really turn. So I'd recommend, you know, launching on a hard surface. I could launch it in the room in my house on the rug, or like a really shortcut rug is okay. I'm just gonna keep flying until the battery dies. Woo! Oh, there was a little bit of a gust of wind there that came toward me when that happened, but I think the battery is just probably about to die. It feels a little weak. You can start to feel it. It takes more and more throttle to kind of keep it up. And that's normal on pretty much every quadcopter you fly. So now I'm full throttle up and it's ready to land. So I'm going to switch into altitude hold and let's go ahead and land this thing. Oh, it's already landing. Okay, cool. See if we can get one more launch and landing so we can hear the landing effects.
Activating landing sequence.
Yeah. So anyway, it's ready to land already. The battery's spent. And that gets us to kind of a little pros and cons. Let's turn this controller off. And that vibration in the controller and the sound effects are so neat. So let me pop this battery out. There we go. And let's run through a little pros and cons like I did with my other Propel versions. So the TIE Fighter version, what can we say about this thing? Definitely for a Star Wars collector and fan, you need to get one of these. Or the whole set if you can afford it. The detail, the paint job, the graphics on this thing, the lighting, the ability to have, you know, laser tag fights with other crafts. The sound effects are awesome with the vibration in the controller. You get that feedback and it just gives you, it kind of brings it up to a new experience with flying quadcopters, and the realism is pretty neat. Some of the cons, it would be nice if they had some kind of little switch, maybe like a hidden switch, like on the back here, that was similar to like a little tab that you just push up or down, just so you don't have to push the battery in and it immediately powers up. And if you leave the battery in and you forget, like for a kid or something, you may like destroy the battery. I'm not sure on that, but would have been nice to see some kind of switch. But for like a Star Wars collector, man, this thing is awesome. It flew pretty good. You could see a little con was when you're doing tight turns, it does this flutter and loses a lot of altitude, and that's just because it's got a really short rotor base here. You see how they're really close together, and plus these side wings here don't help it at all. The wind influences it here, and then it doesn't really have like a wide stance to keep it stable enough to do tight turns. So keep that in mind. But otherwise, this thing is pretty cool. You know, it's bringing, basically what these are is they're bringing like a toy grade quadcopter up into like a collector's item deal. It does still have brushed motors. Like I mentioned before, I do have all three of these, the X-Wing, this TIE Fighter, and also the speeder bike. And so I'm doing like a whole series of reviews on all three of them. I wanted to keep them all separate just to give them their own individual attention. So check out those other ones on my channel if you haven't. And by the way, I'll have the link to this guy down in the description, so you can go ahead and check out the pricing and more in-depth specs on it if you want to kind of see what it's all about. Anyway guys, do a lot of reviews like this, so check out my channel and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.